The legal battle over the death of Romeca Meeks Blackmon reached another high-stakes peak in a Chicago courtroom today, April 1, 2026. This hearing was not just another date on the calendar. It was a showdown over whether the accused shooter, Quadajah Holly Johnson, would walk free before her trial. Here is the breakdown of everything that unfolded during today's high-tension proceedings. The energy inside the Leeton Criminal Courthouse was electric as Quadajah Johnson appeared before the judge for a critical status hearing. Her legal team, led by attorney Ari Williams, doubled down on their push for her release to home confinement or electronic monitoring. The defense's core argument: self-defense. They presented a narrative that the September 2025 shooting in the South Loop was a desperate act of survival, not a premeditated murder. The courtroom was gripped as the defense cited emergency services recordings and surveillance video they claim contradicts the prosecution's version of events. They highlighted that Johnson, who was licensed to carry a firearm, had sought a restraining order against Romeca months before the shooting, though the state maintains that order was never officially served. Despite the emotional pleas regarding her pregnancy and clean record, the judge was unmoved. Citing the severity of the first-degree murder charges and the strength of the evidence already presented, the court denied her request for release. Quadajah Holly Johnson will remain in custody at the Cook County Jail as the case moves forward. But there is still the public ever-ending question: what about Carlos Smith? The forensic smoking gun, Stroger Hospital records. One of the biggest developments discussed today was the progress of the Qualified Protective Order, QPO, for Romeca's medical records from Stroger Hospital. Prosecutors are meticulously combing through these files to find forensic proof of a physical struggle before the shots were fired. Specifically, they are looking for bruising or soft tissue damage that would confirm witness accounts that Romeca was placed in a chokehold. If these records prove Romeca was being physically restrained, it would effectively dismantle Johnson's self-defense claim and potentially open the door for new charges against other parties involved. Carlos Smith's court presence and denial. All eyes were also on Carlos Smith, the man at the center of this tragic triangle. Carlos was indeed present at the courthouse, and the tension between him and Romeca's family remained palpable, recalling the chaotic December hearing where he was briefly handcuffed and detained after an altercation outside the courtroom.
The man who allegedly held Romeca Meeks Blackmon in a chokehold while his girlfriend shot her in the face was taken away in handcuffs during a court hearing this last week. Videos are all over social media showing absolute chaos erupting outside the courtroom between the Meeks family and Carlos. This case just took a wild turn.
Inside the courtroom today, Smith remained a lightning rod for controversy. Prosecutors reiterated their allegations that he physically assaulted Romeca by slamming a car door into her and holding her in a headlock seconds before she was killed. They even brought up the infamous fist bump he allegedly shared with Johnson over Romeca's body. Carlos Smith, however, broke his silence with a passionate denial. He stated, "I'm just tired of the lies. I didn't headlock her. I didn't beat her with the door. I only tried to defuse the situation." While Smith has not been charged with murder, the judge previously noted that he has reasons to be untruthful, and the court is currently waiting on DNA results from the firearm expected in June 2026 to determine his ultimate level of accountability. What is next? The case is now moving into a deeper discovery phase. The next major milestone will be the return of the ballistics and DNA forensics this summer, which could finally answer whether Carlos Smith handled the weapon. Until then, Romeca's family continues to show up in pink, demanding that everyone involved faces a judge.
Of pain and agony. I just want to say thank you, Lord. Thank you. Justice, please. I just want justice. I don't want to fight with nobody. I don't want to argue with nobody. I just want justice for my daughter. And I want peace in my family.
But the real bombshell from today's hearing was not just about who stayed in jail. It was about the cold, hard science that is starting to tell a different story than the one we've been hearing on social media. The prosecution confirmed that the qualified protective order for the Stroger Hospital records has yielded critical data. They are not just looking for the cause of death anymore, they are looking for the pre-mortem trauma. This means they are searching for evidence of the physical struggle that occurred before the first shot was fired. If those medical records show internal bruising on Romeca's neck or defensive wounds on her arms, it provides the legal anchor the state needs to prove that Romeca was being physically restrained by a second party. This is the nightmare scenario for the defense, as it completely dismantles the idea that Holly Johnson was acting alone in a moment of fear. And then there was the atmosphere in the gallery. Romeca's family was out in force, a sea of pink that served as a silent, powerful reminder of the mother of five who isn't here to speak for herself. The tension hit a breaking point when the judge addressed the DNA evidence from the firearm. While we were all hopping for a reveal today, the court confirmed a June 2026 deadline for those results. This means for the next 2 months, the question of whether Carlos Smith actually handled the murder weapon will hang over this case like a dark cloud. The state is being meticulous. They know that with a high-profile defendant and a complex accountability theory, they only get one shot at a conviction. Carlos Smith's presence at the court today was more than just a bystander's appearance. He was vocal, he was defensive, and he was adamant that the public has it all wrong. He looked into the cameras and denied the chokehold, denied the fist bump, and claimed he was the one trying to play peacemaker. But the judge's previous comments about his reasons to be untruthful seemed to linger in the room. As he walked out of that courthouse today a free man, the whispers among the supporters were louder than ever. How much longer? This hearing proved that the cold trail is starting to heat up in ways we didn't expect. The next status date is set for May 7th, where we expect the final production of the discovery materials to be turned over. We are moving closer to a trial date, and with every medical record unsealed and every DNA swab analyzed, the secret society theory is either going to be proven as a calculated conspiracy or dismissed as a tragic series of coincidences. But one thing is for sure after today, the untouchable narrative is officially on life support. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for Cold Trail Crime and ring the bell, because as we head toward that June DNA reveal, we are going to be the ones bringing you the forensic breakdown that the mainstream media is too afraid to touch. Leave a comment below. After hearing Carlos's denials today, do you believe him, or are you waiting for the DNA? Let us get the conversation started. Justice for Romeca is the only destination, and we are not stopping until we get there. Lest I forget, another tension in the courtroom today was not just about the motions filed. It was about the visual evidence that is finally being synchronized with the witness statements. The prosecution dropped a subtle hint that they are currently enhancing surveillance footage from a nearby business that captured a wider angle of the South Loop Street than the school's cameras. This is critical because it could show the exact moment the vehicle pulled up and whether there was a wait time before the confrontation began. If that video shows the car idling or a signal being given, the self-defense plea by Quadajah, Holly Johnson, is effectively dead on arrival. It moves the needle from a heat-of-the-moment struggle to a premeditated ambush. And let's look at the pregnancy factor that dominated the defense's argument today. While Holly's team argued that a jail cell is no place for an expectant mother, the prosecution countered with a chilling reminder. Romeca Meeks Blackmon was a mother who will never see her children grow up because of the actions taken that morning. The judge seemed to weigh this heavily, noting that the potential risk to the community outweighs the personal circumstances of the defendant. This is a massive blow to the defense's strategy of using the pregnancy as a get-out-of-jail-free card. As of this evening, Holly remains in the infirmary section of the Cook County Jail, and the medical records being traded in discovery are the only bridge between her and the outside world. Then there's the Carlos Smith factor. His appearance today was marked by an almost defiant energy. He was not just there as a witness. He seemed to be there to reclaim his narrative. When he spoke about diffusing the situation, he was addressing the court, but he was also addressing the viral court of public opinion. However, the legal experts we've consulted at Cold Trail Crime point out a major flaw in his defense. If he was diffusing a situation, why did he allegedly share a fist bump with the person who just fired the shots? That single gesture, if proven by the enhanced video, is what the state calls post-arrest conduct, and it can be used to prove that he was in common design with the shooter. As we look toward the May 7th status hearing, the secret society theory is no longer just a hashtag, it's a legal checklist. The state is looking for the third party, the person who may have provided the weapon or the intelligence on Romeca's schedule. We are hearing whispers that a straw purchase investigation is running parallel to this murder case. If that gun didn't belong to Holly, and if Carlos as a convicted felon couldn't legally buy it, who put that weapon in her hand? This is why your support for Cold Trail Crime is so vital. We are the ones asking the questions the mainstream media is glossing over. We are almost at our 1,000 subscriber goal, and after today's courtroom fireworks, we need your voice more than ever. Share this update on your community tab and Facebook groups. Tell the world that the April 1st hearing didn't bring an arrest, but it brought the forensic roadmap that leads straight to one. Do you think the May 7th hearing will finally reveal the enhanced video footage? Let's debate in the comments. We are watching the clocks, the courts, and the untouchables. For Romeca, the trail is burning white-hot. Stay tuned. But the atmosphere as the session finally broke was perhaps the most telling part of this entire day. As the legal teams packed their briefcases and the deputies prepared to escort Quadajah back to her cell, the silence in the room was heavy with the realization that the self-defense shield is starting to crack under the weight of these new discovery motions. We have to look at the paper trail trap that the prosecution alluded to today. They are not just looking at the medical records. They are looking at the timing of the restraining orders Quadajah filed months before the shooting. The state is preparing to argue that those filings weren't an act of a victim in fear, but the legal premeditation of someone setting a stage to justify a future execution. If the judge allows this into evidence at trial, it proves that the intent was formed long before the first shot was fired in the South Loop. And we cannot ignore the fist bump testimony that once again took center stage. While Carlos Smith stood in that hallway today and called it a lie, the prosecution hinted that they have enhanced audio forensics from a nearby doorbell camera that captured more than just the shots. They are looking for the post-event dialogue, the words spoken between Carlos and Quadajah in the seconds after Romeca fell. In the world of Cold Trail Crime, we know that what is said in the adrenaline of a crime is often the most honest evidence you'll ever get. If that audio confirms a celebratory tone or a mission-accomplished statement, then the common design theory moves from a possibility to a conviction. For the supporters of justice for Romeca, today was a day of mixed emotions. While there was no second arrest, the fact that the judge denied bond for a pregnant woman with no record speaks volumes about the gravity of the proof the state is holding. The court is signaling that the evidence of first-degree murder is presumptive, meaning the proof is evident and the presumption great. This is a massive legal hurdle that the defense failed to clear today. It tells us that the secret society might be powerful, but the forensic roadmap is starting to bypass their influence. As we look toward the May 7th status hearing, the pressure on the untouchables is at an all-time high. The Stroger Hospital records are being digitized, the DNA results are being sequenced for that June reveal, and the community is getting louder. We are only few subscribers away from our 1,000 goal here at Cold Trail Crime. If you believe that the truth should not be an April Fool's joke, and that every person who held a hand in Romeca's death should wear a pair of handcuffs, hit that subscribe button right now. We are the only channel that stayed in that courtroom until the lights went out to bring you the after-action report. Share this video on your Facebook, your TikTok, and your community tabs. Tell the world that the April 1st hearing didn't bring an arrest, but it brought the forensic roadmap that leads straight to one. Do you think the May 7th hearing will finally reveal the enhanced video footage? Let us debate in the comments. We are watching the clocks, the courts, and the untouchables. For Romeca, the trail is burning white hot. Stay tuned, stay vigilant, and never let her name go cold. Justice is coming.